First century Jewish territory was not a stable place. Jesus' disciples, those who have chosen to follow him, those whom he's addressing this week, lived during rocky times. Land that they had inhabited for centuries was under occupation again, this time by the Romans. The society around them had been shaped by the Greeks. Local leadership walked a fine line, or completely jumped over it, to maintain their cultural and religious relationships while not upsetting their governor. But local governors changed, and their word was law, and they had a lot of control. Control the ordinary people didn't have. The people did hard work. Reading was a very limited opportunity, and life was precarious. In this context, Jesus tells his disciples, "Do not be afraid, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." As we work through our summer and have plans for the fall being laid out and finalized, I'm not sure how we're feeling. It's been a long year since the annual meeting, though time is moving quickly, and I am feeling excited. It's been 2 months since we voted to grow, and we're making good efforts at changing how we live as a community. A few weeks ago, the Bishops' Committee, which is our board of directors equivalent as a mission church, set the pledge goal for $180,000 for 2026. If you're newer to St. Hilda St. Patrick, you can still make a commitment for the rest of this year by going to pledging.sthildastpatrick.org. Next year's pledge campaign hasn't started yet, but behind the scenes groundwork starts tomorrow, I'm told, after we get through this afternoon. Having voted to grow, having started to make changes, having discussions on the book Invite, Welcome, Connect at 9 o'clock on Sundays for the rest of this month, I really don't know how you're feeling. It may be difficult to not have some anxiety working in the back of your mind. What if it doesn't work? We've tried that before. It didn't work. Nothing can change, and nothing is going to change. There's just not enough people, not enough money. Is there anything we can actually do? As someone who has known grace in tablet form by the brand name Lexapro for over a decade now, I know all those feelings and know these words that swirl around. But God is calling out to us so loudly and so clearly in today's texts. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Or as I memorized it as a teenager, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. In Genesis, Abram is worried about not having an heir, and God tells him not to be afraid. To a ragtag bunch of groupies, Jesus says, "Fear not, little flock." None of these messages of assurance tell us to ignore the world around us or skip out on remembering that parts of life are difficult. What they remind us of is that God is there for us, and we are not alone. Do not be afraid, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Rather than telling the disciples through time to ignore the world around them because Jesus is going to fix it all shortly, Jesus tells them to keep up their work as they wait for his return. The line Jesus invites us to notice is the line between anxiety and preparation. I'll never forget the first day of sophomore health class in high school when the textbook covered eustress and distress. That there are good stressors that cause us to act for good things. Paralyzing anxiety, which is easy if you watch the news or listen to weekly podcasts or get sucked into doom scrolling, is a path of fear, and it's one that's easy to take. It's to these circumstances that Jesus offers comfortable words to not be afraid. It's to these circumstances that the author of the letter to the Hebrews tells us that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. The good news of Jesus, the resurrected Christ, is that the causes of our distress, the sources of doom for doom scrolling, aren't the end. They don't win. Jesus tells two parables today that encourage us to be ready, to be on watch, and to do the work God has given us to do. Neither the servants waiting for their master nor the homeowner on the lookout for a thief is frozen with anxiety. Jesus tells us to be prepared like they are, though. And that's why I'm excited about these texts today on the day that we're having this cookout. I went to register my family on Wednesday, and we were sold out. We're not turning anyone away, but by Wednesday we had 100 people who had gotten tickets. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. We've been getting ready, and we are getting ready. Between the two congregations, I think the email this week said that there are 33 volunteers serving in some capacity or another. Beyond today, people are looking at infrastructure and have tallied up 43 named ministries. As we work through our summer and have plans for the fall being laid out and finalized, I'm not sure how we're feeling. It's been a long year since the annual meeting, though time is moving very quickly. Specific goals have been set for maintaining the status quo in a financially healthy way. There is still some anxiety about the word evangelism, but sharing the good news that we have known in Jesus shouldn't make us anxious, no matter how much Christian siblings have made the salvation of creation into a cudgel. Nevertheless, Jesus says, "Fear not, little flock." We don't know how the pledge campaign will turn out. Like Jesus setting his face to Jerusalem, we've set our faces to growth and moving from maintenance to mission, from surviving to thriving. As we move through the rest of this year, we keep our lamps trimmed, ready for God to act. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. Amen.